Welcome back. It's another episode of What You Own. I'm here with my special guest, oh so special, Mr. Tomas.
Cinquanta. What is the
Cinquanta.
Cinquanta.
Yes. This man just turned 50.
I said 50. 50.
Right. So it was, I just thought about it. I was like, yeah, we can sit down with Pops and talk with him. I told him he gonna have to get on here one day. He said, it's whatever. So I said, okay then.
Right. And as usual, as he said, get down here one day, it's whatever. I'm like, that's cool. But then next 2 minutes ago, my neighbor was like, come on over, have a drink. I'm like, come on.
I had enough of that. What, Monday?
Hey, it's called living life.
It is. Living your best life.
Right, I'm trying to be grandes Dios.
Grandes Dios.
Yeah, I'm grand.
Oh, goodness. Grand.
Right.
Oh, man. I thought you were trying to say muchos Dios, like
It
many
is muchos
years.
Dios, but it's grand Dios. I'm trying to do it twice.
What? My dad ain't never taken no Spanish class, y'all. Forgive him.
Well, like I said, 25 times 2, right? Trying to do it twice.
Yes.
Grand twice.
Okay, so I'm grand.
Dios. Right.
Oh, so the funny part is we had a Mexican themed party, like Mexico themed party for him.
Right.
And I had a party at a birthday dinner at a Mexican
sure
restaurant.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I ain't know. When she told me the theme like a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh, he probably not even gonna put those two together.
I didn't. I wasn't even thinking about it. Right. I didn't know what they was gonna do. Right. I didn't know what they was gonna do, so I wasn't thinking about it.
We had to embrace our culture for the people south of the border. But yeah, I know.
All day.
You said you wanted to talk about. What you said you wanted to talk about?
A point. I guess it was a couple of things. The point was a few things that I would like to share. If it was something I think somebody should know. I've seen this post about a meme or question around Facebook, and it says that if you could go back and tell your younger version something, what would you tell them?
Well, he got kids, so we all the younger versions of him.
Right.
So, and that's why I was wondering, like, the younger version of yourself, that's me. If you can go back 25 years and tell yourself something, what would you say?
Yeah, or till you was like 17 or 19.
Right.
You got to think about when your life changed. What would you do differently, or how would you handle the situation? Would you actually change something different?
Right. Well, let's first acknowledge that he got to 50. That's a blessing. Amen.
25 times 2.
Right.
20 times 2.
Coming out of East St. Louis. Yes, sir.
Right. That's why you toast up.
Every day. Oh, man. But yeah, so yeah, I see what you're saying, like, basically speaking on, okay, being reflective about your life. And let me speak to the younger person, the younger me. And they probably would have helped your perspective or like some outcomes in your life or in our lives or your children.
I think the first thing was it would have changed my life because it would have changed how I saw life. Because if I'm looking at it in one direction, and as you get older, you learn to look at things differently, what would you actually change? Now, people sit up there and talk about whether or not, I want to change, I got kids. And sometimes you do feel like that about your kids. But sometimes if you really want to change your life, not even to put your kids in the equation, but if you want to change your life, what would you do differently? And it was like, I would tell my younger self, trust yourself. Trust your own intuition, your own thoughts. You're not supposed to be a follower of no man. So if you learn to lead yourself and go within your own intuition, you'll get further at what you really want to be in life.
And knowing yourself too.
Right.
You can't know yourself while you're following other people.
No, you ain't learned nothing. You actually kind of just skip and stagnate. No,
right.
You like going across. You're not even going forward.
Right. I feel like I've seen people like that, but it's always somebody else, another wave they riding, but it's like, all right, what part is you? I guess that's how people find themselves sometimes. I don't know.
You can find yourself, but at the same time, are you cheating yourself? Because you following someone else, you're following their premonitions or their thoughts. Are you really living your 100% potential? Are you living your full potential of you? Because you're inhibiting yourself, first of all, because you're going out somebody else. Now, sometimes that's how we learn. Some of us are programmed that way. That's how we learn.
And it's not what I want to do.
Right. But, you following somebody else, you living their life. You doing things they want to do. Not to say anything's wrong with it, because you can. That could be what you want to do.
Yeah.
But if you feel in yourself to do something else, or would you do things differently, would you? You got to think about that. You got to think about your happiness. I'm constantly looking at stuff right now in life to whereas it's like everything that you've learned, everything you've been taught. If everything you've been taught is skewed, if 50% of everything you learn is told from a twisted point of view, are you absolutely correct in all your decisions?
No, could you really make judgment calls?
Right. Based on
well, sometimes it's intuition, sometimes it's just like you know what you're supposed to do in that situation.
That's true.
So I see if you're saying your information can be skewed. I mean, when I think about that, I just think about history, like
see, that's what's going on right now.
I think about it even in terms of like family dynamics. Like everybody got one side of their story, and then it's hard to keep the unity when everybody got listen to one side or the other side, and we haven't come together and talk about the whole story.
Oh heck yeah, that's even in the household. You could have a mother, father, and one child, and that child could ask a question to see things, but their father could take it in one perspective and the mother could take it in one perspective. So depending on that, then you get the other parts or dynamics of the family. You got an aunt, an uncle, a brother, a grandmother, somebody always meddling in somebody's business or this and that is going. You get all kind of crazy stuff. You don't really know what perspective you're coming from or how you supposed to understand things. How you gonna learn if you really haven't sat down to think about how you gonna learn?
Or how you gonna listen?
Right,
listen to learn.
Oh my God, that's it right there.
You seen his eyes? Listen.
Hey, you know how you got a dog when you pet your dog and you scratching that favorite part and they be kicking, but like that's how you have one mouth and two ears. You should do twice as much listening as you do speaking.
Yeah,
that's important. You can see, but sometimes what you see, you might think you see. You can see and hear, and it still might be different. But you need to listen more than you speak.
I think I don't know when it was, but I started getting a better understanding of what it meant to like listen. Because they say two ears, one mouth, but it's also like don't listen to respond. That's something I learned recently. Like sometimes we have discussions or conversations, and you're listening to the other person, waiting just so you can get your point out.
Right.
Like you at the starting gate, and the gate right there. You're like, okay, as soon as they done talking, I can pop off with this.
They said 5 words, and that's all you heard because you already sitting in your head with your response. It's like, mark, get set, go.
It's called active listening, and all kind of stuff. You have to actually like digest and be willing to take a break from your thoughts to consider,
interpret, and consider.
Yeah,
I had a conversation with a guy at work, and we were talking, and as he said, I said no, because honestly, when we're having a discussion, if I'm listening to you, whatever you say, if I ask you a question or whatever you say, your response would be part of my question. So when you say something or respond to me, my response should be actually part of what you said. Let you know I was listening, interpreted, and regurgitating.
You learned that in school, yeah.
Right.
Talking about use the question that was proposed to you in your answer.
Right, and make sure that way you're thinking about it. But now don't deflect away from what I was asking you in the first place.
Oh, yeah, I know how to deflect now.
Right.
Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake.
But it's just things like, and that's just basic communication skills. It's crazy. Nowadays, people, I don't think, have learned how to communicate. I don't think people really talk to listen or understand. I think people talk just to be talking.
Yeah.
If you ain't talking to understand or interpret or to help, what are you doing?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I feel like, I guess listening, I feel like I've listened to you my whole life.
Right.
But I guess some messages,
my point can be a bit biased because it's my point.
Yeah, it's your point, and it's like I done heard this before. Like I feel like he be talking to me. I'm like, Daddy, who you talking to me? Like I'm the one who listens the most. Why are you talking to me again? But sometimes messages still don't get through, the same way because I'm looking at a different perspective, different lens as life goes on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. Everything it's gotta open up in your mind. Just like I feel like heel STL. I feel like I know what is it a Mike Brown shirt? Like they had that back
Mike
then.
Brown shirt. Yeah.
It's like. People weren't listening, even though Mike Brown's situation clearly showed the pattern that was going on in the world. But it's like it took this COVID and all this stuff going on for people to start listening.
A progression. It wasn't. I think it was just a progression because even before Mike Brown, you still really didn't have video. And the first thing they did was they brought out
everything. Had a video of Rodney King. That was enough there,
right? And they all 5 got off,
right. So it's been going on. It's like it's a progression, but it's like how long does it take for people to listen? So
right, because they stuck in that point of view. It's like arguing with somebody about the doggone flag. They say it's history, then I say it's oppression. But at the same time, I can turn around and say it ain't just oppression. The fact that you're actually celebrating that flag, you're actually committing treason against the United States because that flag, when it gets the American flag, you can't consider yourself an American. Go find an island.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's like, are you listening? I spoke with a guy today at work. He was like, he walked in, I ain't seen him in a while. And I was like, what's going on, man? Yada, 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 how's it going? Yada, yada. Everybody COVID-free, we good. And
yes, sir.
so as he was talking and we were talking, he was talking about, he's like, what you going to do with your kids? He was like, I'm going to let them go to school. And I was like, you going to do the virtual learning? You don't want to do the virtual learning? He was like, no. So part of the problem was that they had already paid for the apartment and they didn't want to get a refund. I said, I can understand that. And then he brought up the fact that his kid had asthma. So I'm like, you got to ask him, man, why would you send him somewhere in a situation like that? He said, they pay for it. I said, I understand that. And then he said the COVID-19 was like the flu. I'm like the flu? I said, yeah, it's like the flu, but it's killing more people in a year's time than the flu.
Yeah.
He said, but it ain't the COVID-19 that's killing people. He said, people have underlying conditions. I said, oh, right, your son, like your son. I ain't say your son. I was like, right, if I got asthma and somebody choked me or put their knee on my neck, I said, did I die because of my asthma? I died because they put their knee on my neck.
That knee.
Exactly. So if you got asthma, you catch COVID-19, you caught the virus. The virus is what helped kill you.
Right.
You didn't die because you were still living with asthma already every day.
Right. Asthma
Right.
is not
So he was trying to argue the point of the numbers, but it's just perspective.
Yeah.
But until
it don't need to be no numbers. The thing is, it's like, how many numbers does it take? If it's one person that, in this, like the breathe thing, like died unjustly, if it's one person who died of COVID, like, that's enough. I watched a video the other day about, what was that, Vietnam. They said they have had 0 COVID-19 deaths. There was one person, the first person who got a case was a pilot, and they did everything in their power to make sure he didn't die.
Yep.
But they took it serious because they know China, their neighbors to the north, was, SARS. They had SARS fresh in their memory, so they weren't going to play games with it. So it was like, it's an example out there of how to take
COVID-19 is actually SARS and MERS put together. It was out there in the information
like that.
It was out there in the information when they first put it out.
The thing is, like, you can't pretend that you know something about a virus or something that you're not really
that you don't
up
know.
on. Yeah,
right,
you don't really know. And that's my thing is, like, everybody has a hot take on something that, nobody really knows nothing about. They can't make a vaccine like that because they don't really know the virus themselves. Like that.
Right.
So,
if you don't know what it took to create it, how you going to know what it takes to cure it, to fix it? Right. I'm just like done. I'd be like, y'all be acting stupid.
We off topic. Let me bring it back. So my quote of the day, exactly. My quote of the day. I'm only better than a person I was yesterday. It's two different parts that I look at it. As a whole, I'm better than the person I was yesterday, but I'm only better than, I'm not better than any other person. I'm only better than myself.
True.
Than the person I was yesterday. And I think about this quote, and I started thinking about while you was talking. I was thinking about you because I feel like I've seen you grow in just various different ways. Even just coming up from a child, like you see your parents grow and see how they change. And sometimes they just get frail depending on how old your parents are. They start getting frail and stuff later years. But he's 50 and fine right now, so he not worried about that.
I ain't quite fine. I got my 2-pack going now. It just is what it is.
Oh, that too. Like even like the meal plan and nutrition and all that stuff. Like I see that,
like
you teach old dogs new tricks. Like you learn new stuff as you go. Like life, just because you become an adult and you have kids or whatever it may be, your life don't stop. Like you can keep going and keep growing. It's like, it's no reason to get complacent in this person I was at 35 and I can stay that person.
Well, that's one thing about I love to learn. I like to learn. I feel like I've always felt like if I don't learn something every day all the time, I'm not growing. I'm not doing anything. I want to learn. I want to learn. I want to understand because they have Schoolhouse Rocks. Knowledge is power. Mm-hmm. You got.
I really don't get that reference, but
knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have.
I'm saying Schoolhouse Rocks. I've heard of that before, but I don't know though.
Right, that's an old school thing. I'm just a bill. But anyway.
Okay.
But it was a GPS station. It was a local broadcast channel, and the only thing they did was the kids watch. Y'all might have watched SpongeBob or this or that. Mm-hmm. Our shows were animated a little differently, so we had certain times of day the educational shows would come on too. Mm-hmm. So we had the Muppets and this and that, but you had certain times of the day certain shows would come on. But Schoolhouse Rocks was always about schoolhouse.
Yeah.
Rocks. It rocks to go to the schoolhouse.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you were learning something, so it was like knowledge is power. But when you think about it, the more, if you know 3 things on the planet, that's all you know, how far you going to get?
Nowhere.
If you know 100 things, how far you going to get?
Barely anywhere.
If you know 1,000 things, knowledge
with
is power.
Everybody else,
the more knowledge you know, But it ain't just knowledge is power. It's also applying the knowledge.
Applying the knowledge and then the wisdom that comes along with it.
Yeah.
I think that was last week. I saw me and Zach talk about teenagers think they know everything, and I mean, I feel like he definitely experienced that, parents and teenagers and all that.
Definitely. I experienced me knowing everything as a teenager too.
Right. So it's just, being humble and humbling yourself to, be open to the prospect of the idea that
different ideas.
I don't know everything. Yeah. I feel like that's one thing I've gotten from you, like that everyday progression of kind of wanting to learn. Like, I don't even think I notice it, but that's why I'd rather do than.
That's good. That's
at least
good.
when I'm like, I do a lot of edutainment.
I'm proud of you for it. I love the fact that the kids are around. Actually, I was talking about that. I feel like it is critically important for you to be a big influence in your children's life. If you can get your children to want to learn, help them learn to create, aspire, I feel like that is a great thing. You are more of a mentor than you are anything to your children. I don't care how much punishment you put them on, how many rules you got, how much discipline you get in. If you aren't helping your kids learn to aspire, if you aren't teaching them to be open to create, you're not really doing it. But you're also the biggest motivator. So I want to learn. I want my kids to learn too. I want my kids to be better off than me. I want my kids to learn more. I want them to understand. When y'all come back, oh my God. When you say little stuff to me like, oh, Dad, remember you told me this? And I'd be like, yeah, but I did say that.
Right.
But how your kids learn things and they apply it and they give it back to you. But at the same time, they learn and they growing. So, okay, wouldn't you want your children to be better than you? Let them learn. Help them create. Help them grow. If you ain't doing, I feel like if you ain't helping your kids grow as a parent, you ain't doing something right.
Right, you stifling the next generation.
Yeah, you really are. You really repeating the cycle.
Trying to, right? You're trying to do that. You're trying to make the cycle a different kind of cycle.
Right.
Wealth in multiple ways, right?
Can we put some originality in it?
I want to wrap it up. You know the quote, well, not the quote, the verse, 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I thought I was a child.
Yep.
I taught like as a child, thought as a child, reasoned as a child. But when I became a man, I put those childish things away. Is there one particular thing that you think about? Like when you hear that quote, like one thing, like, okay, coming from...
Playing with water guns, hell.
I'm talking about something in your character, your life.
That I wouldn't do, that I probably did as a child, that I wouldn't do now, like playing with water guns. If I did, it'd be a sporadic thing, just be off the... That was something I probably want to do. It's simple stuff. Simple changes in your life change your life.
That's true.
It's simple changes, what do you do? But as for... I mean, every path you go through, you make different choices. When I was 10 through 20, I did certain things. When I probably was 20 through probably 37, 38, I probably did certain things. I'm old. I do things different. I'm going to move different. If you know, if you learn, if you grow more, you should move different.
Yeah.
If you don't, what are you doing? You still stagnant.
Okay. So there's no singular thing. It's just day to day.
I think it's just growing now. That's why I want to learn. That's why I want to learn every day. I don't even care.
Growing up, you got to be grown enough to help yourself get better.
Yeah, I thought this was humbling. I always like this. The fact that you can learn something from a homeless person sitting on the street, you can learn from anybody. Just because they're homeless don't mean they ain't got no great ideas and no wisdom.
Right. They people, it's homeless people with PhDs.
Yes, sir.
Sadly enough.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can learn from anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, but even I can learn from my kids.
Yes. Another thing, parents ain't perfect. They learn from the kids.
Now, I be messing up sometimes. I be messing up.
Look, takes drink. Oh, sip C, that's what it is. Sip C. I said take
right. Wine good for your heart, people. Good for your heart. Work on your body.
He learned that from somewhere. But okay,
right.
That's all. I ain't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. I appreciate you putting me on the spotlight.
50. Y'all comment below. Let me know how y'all think he look. Do I look like this man?
It don't really matter.
I think on my post I said, "Well, I'm glad to know I'll be handsome when I turn 50."
Right. He didn't give me my 50 and fine credit, but I can't take my 50 and fine credit, so it is what it is.
All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next time, man.